Think with me. Billy Bob mentioned off the air, when is the last time you saw a political figure in America create this kind of momentum and sustain it for this long? The only person that you could even consider would be Ronald Reagan in 1980. But even that, Trump might be doing better than that. It's a different world today than it was then. I'll grant you that. But all right, so here's the fulfillment of the promise. The latest Rasmussen poll in a head-to-head race with Trump and Hillary shows Trump beating her by 2 points, 41-39. Yep. Now, it's just one poll, but you have to remember, 3-4 months ago, Trump was down in many of the polls by 10 points, 12 points. All of the polls, the gap has closed. And that means in the last week, there's now 2 polls that show Trump either in the margin of error or above. So I'm going to say this one more time, and then we'll move on to other topics. Are there any other topics? Donald Trump has brought more people into the Republican Party, into the primary process, than any human being in Republican history. Let the full weight and impact of that sink in on you. These people like Karl Rove, the Republican establishment, the people that I despise, and frankly, you should too, okay? If it was anyone but Trump, if it was Jeb Bush, I know, let's play it out. It's a little funny, but if it was Jeb Bush that was bringing millions of new voters into the process, the Republican establishment would be doing somersaults. They would be having champagne toasts every night. They would be drinking champagne as a nightcap, and they would be drinking champagne as their morning wake-up cup of coffee. Okay, it would be champagne instead of coffee every morning. But it's not one of their guys. It's somebody who's actually committed to unraveling the power and the corruption of that very establishment. So the fact that Trump is bringing in millions of new voters, while it should make the Republican establishment elated, it terrifies them. It terrifies them, and it should, because it's theirs to lose. And I don't mean the election. I mean the levers of power, the lobbyists, the money, the gifts, the fancy dinners. I'm going to confess to you. Let me have this be a moment where I make it about me, hopefully for the sake of you. I am late 40s. I just had a birthday. And don't be fooled by the gray hair. I dye this white so that I can just look cool. I've been in situations where people took me out to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Have you ever eaten at Ruth Chris Steakhouse? All right, $90 for the steak. Everything is a la carte. $90 for a steak. Do you know how many groceries I could buy for $90? I wasn't footing the bill. Somebody took me and my wife out to dinner. I have tons of stories like this, okay? On rented trains with fancy carts, having dinner with multi-million gazillionaires, okay? Very powerful people, because I was a fair-haired boy. I was the most famous pro-life leader in the Western Hemisphere, maybe the world, except for John Paul II and Mother Teresa. So they wanted me to be around because I was like a little badge of honor. Oh, he's with Randall Terry. Randall Terry's really cool. Have you seen what Randall Terry's doing? Blah, blah, blah. So I got to be at some of the parties. I got to be at the by invitation only conferences where we would sit in gilded rooms, and the hors d'oeuvres that they would serve us cost more than the best meals that you could get at Chi-Chi's or Fridays. Just the hors d'oeuvres, all right? And the alcohol, the expensive wines, okay? And then depending again on the place that you go, the super high-end spirits, okay? The alcohol that's the higher potency. The gifts, just for walking in the door, you get a bag of gifts. There's people in the Beltway, in Washington, D.C., where we used to live, where we used to work, that they live for this stuff. They live for it. Okay? It's a part of their everyday existence. What party am I going to? Who do I get the picture taken with? Who am I meeting with today? I have a hangover from last night. I don't even have to get up till noon. I do my business at night, to the next party, to the next gathering, to the next place where I have to deliver the check. Okay? Donald Trump is a threat to all of that. Because if they don't have access to Trump, and they should, then they've got nothing to sell back home. And if they should be opposing Trump, well, if Trump will do great for the left wing of the country. He'll be a fundraiser extraordinaire for Democrats and for liberals. But the right wing, the conservatives, the religious right, the Republican of power establishment, the Republican of power establishment, they are doomed as far as their narrative, their fundraising ability, if Trump becomes the president. That's why they don't want him, because he's a threat to their power. It doesn't matter if he would fix trade with China. It doesn't matter if he would stop the nukes from getting into the hands of the Iranians. Pick your issue. Illegal immigrants, he'll build a wall. They don't want it. They don't care. They want power. They want their own future. They want their cars, their Mercedes, their BMWs. Are you getting this? Are you understanding why his populist candidacy is such a threat to them? Because they are part of the problem and he's part of the solution. They are the disease and he be the cure.